definitions for each sphirot, and these definitions are assigned and defined and created by the kav. Hakoil hu min hakav.
Kach lekach is in this manner?
Kach and kach, yeah, so and so. All of this is effectuated by the kav. We will, in Mitzvah Shem, discuss this. Lihiyois, and how does a kav really accomplish it? Being that shehakav b'shorshoi, that the kav at its inception, yesh b'chinas eser spheris. In the kav, at its very root, there is the aspect of eser spheris. Shehein eser spheris ha-genuzot, which are the eser spheris, the concealed, the treasured eser spheris. Eser spheris that are part and parcel of the etzem itself. V'hamshochas hakav hu al dei ha-tzimtzum. So initially, in this source, it's called eser spheris ha-genuzot, which are concealed within their source. And the fact that there is a kav, and it becomes a kav means an extended line, and the extended line is already had tzimtzum. That comes as a result of the tzimtzum. she-nimshachot sphirot protiyos, whereby individual spheres are drawn, and therefore it creates a kav. So just to tell you, this is really an answer that we'll have a lot of talking to do. Although we learned about it already. So I made a roch, right? Everybody remembers that? Let us review again the principle of the tzimtzum, the principle of the kav, and then subsequently the result of that in eser spheris. And again, in order for us to get some kind of a sense what we're talking about, beyond just words, we'll use a mashal. A mashal, we already have been exposed to that many times. A mashal is a similar concept, but on a much lower level. And one must not lose sight of this and construe that in its source, that in Nimshal there is similar presences as in the Moshel. The Moshel is only to expose a certain idea.
We're going to use the Moshel to talk about what again?
This whole scenario of AYIN and then the tzimtzum and the kav. And the motion that we are resorting to is again the human being, and in this particular instance the human abode, the home. As an introduction, I'm going to say this, which you already mentioned many times. In a home there are many pieces of furniture, there are many amenities, furnishings, and there are kelim, the cups and saucers and spoons and forks, everything that fills the home. all of these things that fill the home, that are contained in the home, if you think deeply into that, we see two things. On the one hand, these things can be used independently of the home. A spoon, clearly you can use a spoon whether it's in a home or not. A chair, a table, a bed, all of these things can be used independently. Yet, you have to understand this.
To remain on this call, press 1.
What should I do? Press 1 or forget about it? Forget about it. We've already mentioned many times. A bed allows a person to lie down and stretch out and have a good rest. That seems to be a function and a service independent of the location where the bed is standing. Not so. In truth, this is not true, not correct. A bed belongs in a home. Not only that, but a bed is actually a derivative of a home. It's a complement of the home. The home is what gives a person a sense of belonging, a sense of place, of comfort. And from that stems the principle of other comforts, so to speak, the bed and the chair and the table. None of these things make sense in a wilderness, in a desert. Let me elaborate on this slightly a little bit. When a person falls off his feet as a result, and he lies down, and somebody picks him up and puts him on a bed so they wouldn't lie on the ground. This is not defining the function of a bed. This is a result of his inability to stand or to do things. Everything, a function means it has a positive implication. It should be there, not that by default he falls down so you catch him. That's not what a bed is, or a chair or a table. Everything that is, so to speak, within the human arsenal is part of the creation of the human being. It's a divine creation. And in this respect, it is definitely something that stems and is contained in the initial creation of the human being. And as we said many times, the human being was created to develop the world, to capture the world, which means that he has a place in the world. As the Gemara says, Adam shein lebaisin ein Adam. And this initial meaning that he has a home, inherently in a subtle manner, contains all the amenities that the home eventually creates. And these amenities, yes, they can be used independently, but this is not the way. Not 100%. They don't give you the full extent of their value and their service. Like I said, if somebody falls down and you put him in the bed, that's not what a bed is. Or a chair or anything else. Everything has a so to speak, a positive presence on its own, intended to be what it is. And just to make the point we mentioned many times, that a person would get a better rest on the plain cot in his own home than on a cushion mattress in a strange place. And a strange place, as we pointed out, does not mean outside. In a hotel room, you can't get the same rest as you have in your own home. Because there's the overall reality that creates this entire human life presence, and everything else is a derivative of that. In other words, when you say home, that already includes, in an extremely subtle and camouflage manner, everything that fits into a home, that makes sense in a home. Whether it ever materializes or it doesn't, but this is what the home is. So that when subsequently these things do materialize, they materialize by recognizing initially the principle of the home and what is a home in a full sense, and then after realizing this, saying, okay, now let's develop it, which means, okay, we have the concept. Now let's reveal what it stands for. In order, when you say let's reveal, then we are already, so to speak, turning away from the overall influence, and we're talking about its content. What is contained therein? How do you reveal what a home is? This is like chochmah and Binah. Everything is contained within the chochmah, but Binah is the one that draws it out and reveals what is contained therein. In order to draw that which is contained therein, one must, in a certain sense, limit the influence of the initial thing of the home, and start developing what are the means that you use it. Okay, I'm in a home, but now I need a human abode. I need a table and a chair. I need a place where I can entertain guests, which is all part of the home. This is called the tzimtzum. Although in the initial principle, which is it's extremely rich, it has the entire human depth and wealth of concept. But there it is, it has it from a much higher perspective. In order for it to materialize, that has to be contained, limited, so that it allows you to see what is contained therein. This is called the tzimtzum. What happens as a result of this tzimtzum? Even though, again going back to our moshel, I hope I found this, even though the concept itself of the home really contains everything at once, everything, absolutely everything. If you see a table, you say, oh, it belongs here. If you see a chair, it belongs here. A spoon, it belongs here. Everything belongs there. But they're all individual aspects of the home. And in order to reveal that, they have to be revealed individually. This is called the kav. Each thing is identified individually. You start developing, so to speak, and drawing out what is contained in the wealth, in the concept of a human home.
How does that differ from what we just were saying about Binah developing the details, the specifics?
No, it's not different.
The kav is like Binah?
The kav is like Binah. Except the principle of the kav is, it's called the kav, a line, because, and in Binah also this happens this way. The kav means it goes point by point. It's called a line. A line is a multi-pointed structure. And why does it have many points? Because it reveals an infinite arsenal, an infinite content. But this infinite content cannot be identified as such, as infinite. Then it's part of the source. In order for it to reveal, you restrain the source, and it comes out in a kav, in a line, one point below the other. And if I go a step further, in our moshel, if the minute you start thinking of developing the home, surely there are going to be things that are going to come to your mind before others. Even though they're not to say that they are more important or less important. This is just the way things draw from the source. This is called a kav, a line. This line is representing what's contained in Ein Sof, and this is the eser sphirot ha-genuzot. Because in Ein Sof there is eser sphirot ha-genuzot. And this comes to revelation via the kav, which means revealing the eser sphirot, but not revealing them all at once, but revealing them in a multi-pointed expense.
Multi-pointed here could be understood as a sequence, yeah? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
At that point, all these sphirot assume a certain definition. We said initially, eser sphirot ha-genuzot, they're all together. Because they're all really there, not as such, because each one has its particular service, but all because of the Ein Sof element, of the Ein Sof, which contains everything. Then, when you tzimtzum the Ein Sof element, and the spheres begin to surface, it comes in the form of a kav. And at that point, each sphere begins to assume its own definition. this is the pshat, המשוך את הקו על ידי הצמצום, שנמשכים ספירס פרוטיות. So I'm now on the fifth line from the top of this second section. נמשכים ספירס פרוטיות. Individual sphirot are drawn as a result of the tzimtzum. Where are they drawn from? They're drawn from the sphirot ha-genuzot. As sphirot ha-genuzot, why are they there? What brings them there? It's the reality of the Ein Sof itself. Like we said in our moshel, a home inherently, by concept, contains everything that fills a home. Yes, Mo?
So the eser sphirot ha-genuzot are an automatic result of the Ein Sof?
Yes.
It was just said, just like the house automatically contains all
Yeah.
furnishings, so too
I thought there had to be a certain...
1 second, so too this Ein Sof has
Yeah.
these.
In Ein Sof there is just a sphirot ha-genuzot. Okay, there's more to be said about it, but this is where we're going to stop, because this is all the Rebbe is saying.
Just to look at that mashal one time. By the mashal with the furnishings, we did start out saying how the spoon could be even in a different setting.
How what?
The spoon,
Yeah.
spoon or the chair could be found and used in different settings. But ultimately, in the name home, you have this whole array, all these furnishings.
No, that's not. It's true, but that's missing the whole point. That's where they really belong.
They do. So you might have thought they work as well. They work outside the home, but they really belong. They're really
belong in
originating in the
That's
home.
right,
The
that's
bed.
So let's continue, and we'll see it inside here. המשוך את הקו על ידי הצמצום נמשכים ספירס פרוטיות. Where individual spheres are drawn, this is called the tzimtzum. This is the effect of the tzimtzum. ואם היויס שהבהקו הם בבחינת פשיטוס עדיין. Although in the kav, that which we're referring to as a kav, a multi-pointed line, הם בבחינת פשיטוס עדיין. These spheres that surface, that are drawn in the kav, are in a pshitus manner, b'bchinas pshitus adai. What is the b'chinas pshitus adai? Coming back to our motion, you have a chair in the home. The chair is not an add-on that was brought into the home so that we'll have a chair. The chair is a direct revelation of what a home is.
Again, what the chair is not brought in so you'll have a place to sit, but it's a direct revelation. It's not functional, it's essential.
It's not created by a function, right? It's not functional. Pshitus means, like we said, it is there because it belongs there, not because it has a certain service. It does not have its own definition. It's not there because of its own definition. So it became a pshitus. The reality itself creates it. Yes? No?
The reality itself creates it.
Do you understand what we're saying?
I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
The reality itself creates it. Not the reality of the need for a place to sit, but
No.
for the higher reality of home per
That's
se.
right. Okay. This is the pshat b'bchinas pshitus adayin.
Strange. It's interesting that things seemingly so functional and separate would find their root in pshitus.
Well, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what it says. Although the Shabbat hey b'bchinas pshitus adayin. Again, coming back to our very simple motion, clearly it's oversimplified, and you have to understand that we are alluding to something much, much higher. But still, there's truth to this. When you come into a home and you see a chair, you don't ask, what is this doing over here? Oh, this is meant to sit. Or this is meant to sit at a table. It is completely engulfed and contained within the reality of the home. You won't say that this home is so well equipped. There is even a chair there.
Yeah, on the other hand, there's a lot of time and effort spent on, is this the right chair, and is this the right place to put the chair, and
Okay.
seemingly like there's a difficulty in correlating the specifics with the klal.
Right now we're speaking about not how you design the room, but that it belongs in the room.
Okay.
We'll talk about this other. That's on a different level.
So the belonging is the pshitus. There's no functionality of it.
It's not created as a result of a functional need. It's created as a result of the reality of the home itself. All right, so we finally came to this line which says b'bchinas pshitus adayin. In the addition it says even though that in the kav it is b'bchinas pshitus, but nevertheless this is not completed yet. Nevertheless, there is also the cognizance of the individual spheres, or the individuality of the sphere. Just like in our mashal, a chair is a chair, even though it is really part of the home. Okay, time is up.